Attention passionate Dallas, Cowboys. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Dallas Cowboys' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Dallas Cowboys fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Dallas, COWBOYSFANS. Let's get to the news now, guys. You won't believe what's buzzing around the NFL right now, especially in the NFC East. Rumors are swirling that the New York Jets, currently stuck in a disastrous 0-7 start, are looking to shake things up in a major way. And it involves one of the Cowboys' biggest defensive stars, Sauce Gardner. That's right, sources close to the league are whispering that the Jets are looking to trade Sauce Gardner, one of the brightest young cornerbacks in the league, in exchange for a first-round pick in 2026 and a third-rounder in 2025 from the Dallas Cowboys. And if this deal happens, it could be a game-changer not just for the Jets, but for the division as a whole, especially for Dallas. Let's break this down a little. The Jets, right now, are in total rebuild mode. Their defense, which was supposed to be a strength, has been leaking points at an alarming rate, giving up an average of 32. 4 points per game, one of the worst in the league. Their defense is just not holding up, and they're desperate for talent. Meanwhile, Sauce Gardner, only 25 years old but already an All-Pro and a cornerstone for the Jets' secondary, is a player that every team would covet. Standing at 6'3" and weighing around 200 pounds, Gardner is not just tall but incredibly talented. His PFF grade, which is a pretty solid indicator of his performance, is sitting at an outstanding 94, 8 for his career. That's elite, folks, and just look at his recent stats. In 2025, up until October 25th, he's recorded 5 interceptions, 14 pass deflections, and 48 tackles. His coverage grade is a remarkable 95, 2, and his EPA per target is 50, meaning he's very effective at limiting yards after catch and making big plays when it counts. Now, it's important to highlight that Gardner faced some injury setbacks this season. A shoulder injury in Week 4 limited his snaps to around 70%, but he bounced back strong in Week 7 with 3 pass deflections against the Bills. When you compare him to other shutdown corners, it's clear he's in the upper echelon of the league. Style-wise, he's often compared to some of the best in the game, and his stats show a player who can dominate man-to-man coverage, especially in press situations, boosting his team's chances of forcing turnovers and creating pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Advanced metrics show that Gardner ranks in the top 3 for coverage snaps, with over 200 in a season, and his tackle success rate is around 93%. That level of consistency is what makes him such a coveted piece. The fact that he's generating around 1.5 pass deflections per game and has a double-team rate of about 45% shows that opponents are actively trying to avoid him, which naturally opens up opportunities for other players. Now I want to pause here for just a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. Back to the NFL rumors, the Jets are clearly motivated to rebuild. Their current quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, is still a shell of himself at times, with a QBR of 78.6, which is decent but not nearly enough when you're 0-7. Their offensive line has been a big problem, giving up 3 sacks per game, which is just unacceptable at this level. They're also in need of future draft picks, especially in the wide receiver department, as they prepare for life after Garrett Wilson, who they recently extended. The trade for Gardner, which would cost them a first-round pick in 2026 and a third-rounder in 2025, would also help free up about $15 million in cap space in 2026. Making room for new signings or extensions. This is crucial for the Jets because, honestly, their current roster just isn't competitive enough, and their odds of making a Super Bowl run right now are around plus 20, practically impossible. But what does this mean for the Dallas Cowboys? Well, it's huge. The Cowboys, currently sitting at 3-4, are desperately looking for an elite cornerback to bolster their secondary, especially with Trevon Diggs out until Week 12 due to a concussion. They've struggled to contain top-tier WRs, and that's where Gardner could be a major difference maker. Pairing him with Kelvin Joseph and Deron Bland could give Dallas one of the most formidable secondaries in the league. Remember, Bland has been showing flashes of brilliance, and with Gardner's addition, the Cowboys could elevate their defense to a whole new level, turning them into one of the best units in the NFL. Statistically, adding Gardner would potentially give Dallas a plus 12 turnover margin in the season, drastically reducing the yardage allowed through the air, from around 230 yards per game down to about 190. That's a massive improvement. Their expected points added per play, or EPA, would also rise, giving them more opportunities to score and win games. The front seven would also see gains, with sack numbers potentially rising by 18% thanks to the pressure generated by elite cornerbacks and increased mismatches for their pass rushers. Opponents like Jalen Hurts, who has been a nightmare with a QBR of 90. One under pressure would face even more difficulties if Gardner and Bland can shut down their top targets. Now analyzing the matchup between Gardner and the Cowboys' current cornerback, Kelvin Joseph, who has a PFF coverage grade of 84. 6. The difference is noticeable. Gardner's coverage grade is +2, 3 points higher, and his pass deflection rate is about 28% higher, making him a true game changer. Historically, similar trades like the Eagles acquiring Slay in 2023 have had a significant impact on a team's secondary. Gardner, coming off his IR stint, would fill the gaps in Dallas's man-to-man defense, especially against teams like the Eagles, where he could help shut down their explosive receivers and boost the win probability against pass-heavy teams like the Commanders, who have been giving up around 7-9 yards per pass. Looking ahead, the potential impact of this trade on the Super Bowl odds is staggering. Dallas's chances could jump from +8, 0 to around +3, 500, and Gardner's presence might be the X factor in their playoff run. With his ability to create shutdown zones, similar to what we saw against the 49ers when he limited passes to just 80 yards per attempt, the Cowboys could realistically secure around 9 additional wins in the regular season, pushing them from a 3-4 team into serious contenders in the NFC. A positive turnover margin of +1. 6 per game would be enough to push them into the upper echelon of NFC teams, potentially making them a dark horse for a deep playoff run and a shot at the Super Bowl once again. And you know, this isn't just about a single trade. It's about how the Cowboys are positioning themselves for sustained success. Adding a player like Gardner isn't just a short-term fix. It's a statement that they're aiming for a dynasty. The secondary with him would be a defensive fortress, echoing the deals that have defined championship eras before. The optimism in Dallas is palpable, especially considering their cap space, around $31 million, which allows them to make impactful moves before the trade deadline on November 4th. This is a critical window for them to reinforce their secondary and push for that elusive Super Bowl trophy. Now, wrapping this all up, I want to emphasize the significance of this potential move. The Cowboys with Gardner could transform into a team that's not just good but elite, capable of shutting down the best offenses in the league and turning their defense into a formidable force. The division rivals, like the Eagles or Commanders, would certainly take notice. This could be the start of a new era for Dallas, one where their defense is no longer a question mark, but a strength that carries them deep into January. Meanwhile, for the Jets, this move would be a sign of rebuilding, an acknowledgement that their current roster isn't enough, and they need to make bold moves to get back into the conversation. So fans, this story is just unfolding, and it's going to be fascinating to see if it reaches its climax with a deal that could reshape the NFC East. The Cowboys are right there on the cusp of something big, and Gardner could be the piece that finally puts them over the top. The next few weeks will be critical, and I'll be here to bring you all the updates, analysis, and insights you need to stay ahead of the game. Remember, this is what makes NFL football so exciting: the drama, the strategy, the moves that could change everything overnight. So stay tuned, keep those jerseys ready, and let's see how this story develops. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Dallas Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news.